And joining us now to talk more about this is former South Carolina Senator, also the former president of the Heritage Foundation, Jim DeMint. Great to see you, Senator DeMint.
John, it's great to be with you, and I'm currently chairman of the Conservative Partnership Institute, so I'm happy to have a chance to talk to your listeners today.
And it's I'm glad you got that in there, and also, of course, we'll talk about your new book here on Newsmax now eventually. But I do want to talk about what's happening today on Capitol Hill. Is the Democrats' case for impeachment any stronger today than it was yesterday or even a few months ago, in your opinion?
No, I think it's much weaker, in fact, because we have an actual transcript of what the president said. So the secondhand information the whistleblower has been using is hardly relevant today. The theater we see in the hearing now, I think, can only help the president, and it's going to continue to bring out questions about Joe Biden and maybe Senator Dick Durbin and others who've pressured the Ukraine. So I don't see the president as being in any trouble at all. And the big mistake the Democrats are making, John, is they're doing this about a year before the election. And it's going to give the American people time to find out exactly what's going on.
Yeah, you mentioned that letter by Dick Durbin, Patrick Leahy, and one other senator writing to the Ukraine asking them to investigate President Trump, which makes this whole situation seem a little odd that they're so worked up about it. But, you know, you talked about the underlying problem here with the hearsay aspect of all this. This whistleblower was not a party to this call. He's relying on information, or she's relying on information from third parties or parties who were there. He doesn't have direct knowledge of what actually took place. Are you surprised, though, that Nancy Pelosi still went forward with making this a formal impeachment inquiry, considering they didn't have all the facts?
Well, the whole idea here is to overturn the last election and to do everything they can to make sure Trump doesn't get reelected. I'm not really surprised at anything that Nancy Pelosi does, given the people in the House that are pushing her to do this. But you know, I've become increasingly cynical knowing that there are a number of people in the Justice Department and the intelligence agencies who've been trying to undermine President Trump from the beginning. So it wouldn't surprise me at all to find out if this whole whistleblower was something that had been orchestrated by folks who have just been trying to hurt the president. Again, I don't see it as that much, but it relates to what else we'll talk about today, because whether you're talking about impeachment or socialism or the division in America, a lot of this goes back to this war of two ideologies that continue to split our country.
Yeah, and when you look at some of the specifics, and I know you don't think the whistleblower's report is credible, but the Inspector General, who was appointed by President Trump, did call it credible, and we don't necessarily know what that means. But there is this aspect that the White House may have tried to lock down some of the records, or all the records, from the phone call. Dems are pointing to this as a cover-up. What do you say to that?
Well, it's really diplomatic protocol is that you don't release private conversations with other world leaders. It's a bad precedent. It'll throw cold water on honest conversations that the president wants to have with other world leaders. And frankly, if you read this and if you're aware, as I am, of a lot of other conversations between world leaders, I mean, this is just very simple and calm. The world's a tough place. What the president was doing was just congratulating this world leader. He was asking for some help in finding out what happened in 2016, since the Ukraine has come up a number of times, and looking into election meddling. I didn't see anything in there that gave me a concern at all. And frankly, I was happy that the two leaders were having a genuine conversation, going back and forth, and the a leader in Ukraine, the president, was complimenting our country and our president. So that all sounded pretty good to me.
You just watched Newsmax TV, America's fastest growing news channel. Newsmax TV is now available for free on your smartphone. Just go to your iPhone or Android store and download the free Newsmax TV app. Then you can watch free TV news with an American spin anytime, anywhere in the world. Newsmax TV, real news for real people.